I would like to welcome everyone to the 29th episode of Money Trees. Your boy took a mental wealth hiatus to recalibrate and, prep for the rest of 2022. There's been a lot happening, and I'm sure we'll touch on some of it. But the convo today is very special. We're joined by a founder, writer, artist, creative, and all around dope individual. This man is, in every sense of the word, a true Web3 OG. I would like to welcome Jhamar to Money Trees. How are you doing today, my guy?
Bro, I'm doing good, man. Um, in words, in the words of a great philosopher, Aubrey Graham, I started from the bottom. Now I'm here, man. There was times when I couldn't. I requested to speak in one of your Twitter Spaces, and now I'm episode 29 of Money Trees, man. Anything is possible, guys.
Yo, oh my days.
Anything is possible,
You keep
guys.
saying you requested to go to this space. I don't know what space this was, but
Bro,
anyway,
listen, I'm
anyway.
taking that. I remember. I just remembered that was a humble time, man. Now I'm here, bro. So come on, man. Anything is possible, bro.
Yo, man. Okay, okay. Um,
I had to throw that in
no,
there,
that's
man.
real,
I
G.
had
That's real.
to.
That's real. I swear I really don't remember what space that was. I'll be trying to let everyone come up and speak. But yo, look,
I'm here. I'm here now,
yeah,
bro.
that's
That's
all
all
that
that matters. The
matters.
past is the past, bro.
Yeah, man. I want to thank you for joining me today, man. It's been I took a little break shortly after we had actually all connected, and just a little mental wealth needed to kind of reset and recalibrate. I say with Web3, things are constantly happening every day, and the idea of burnout wasn't one I was familiar with in any of my previous like careers. I started to, I don't know if that's what it was, but I just started to feel anxious behind not being kept up to date every single day. It was this weird, like, yo, I had to know every single thing that was happening everywhere. And I wasn't used to that. So it took a minute just to kind of reconvene with nature, get all the priorities straight. And you were the ideal person for me to start back up with. I swear, man. I actually read every single post you had on your mirror and quite a few of your mediums during my hiatus just because I had such a good vibe. I really appreciate you bringing me out to Web3 Wednesday, which we'll touch on. And I just wanted to know more about what you did, your story, which you had, we'll get to. It was really, really fucking interesting to me. And I would say, just your words, your approach to the space, a lot of that helped me kind of find my center and find how I wanted to move forward. So I'm very honored to have you here, re-kicking back off Money Trees with me.
That's dope, man. I'm happy that someone was able to connect with them. You actually the first person that ever told me that they actually took something away from my writing. Although I think people feel it, but you actually just said it to me, and I appreciate that, bro.
Oh, 100 G. I'm gonna make sure we plug the mirror, plug the medium, and all the posts and all like the live versions of this show that'll be there. I want to
Word,
ask
word.
you because you did such a really, really dope job explaining it. Can you tell the people why I say you're one of the true OGs of this space?
I mean, the truth is, bro, I first joined the space in 2018. I was thinking about it early, probably late 2017. I started writing about it in 2018. Then late in 2018, I actually started building. And again, this is facts. My app was the first app in Apple's App Store to allow people to spend and earn crypto. So this was 2018,
Say
man.
that again. Say that
I got
again.
you.
The
All right.
first what?
Yeah. Yeah, yes, it's true, bro. I swear this is true. 2018, my app became the first app to allow people to earn and spend crypto, bro. And that was like, again, like I feel happy knowing that because I've been just trying to innovate my whole life, and like to say something like that, that feels good, man.
That shit is insane, man. Like I remember when you had first said it, I was like, holy crap. Like that is nuts. So could you talk a little bit about that app and then I'll dive into just some of the questions I have for you.
Yeah, so basically, I back in 2013, while I was in grad school at Dartmouth College, I had this idea for a chat app, and the idea was that people should get rewarded for doing things in the app. Like that was the basic theory. But I was obsessed with online communication. I always was like one of the first people in my family or my inner friend circle to just try all the new messaging apps, whether it was like, or social media apps, whether it was MySpace, Snapchat, Instagram. I always was first. 2013, I felt that those apps started to change. They started to become really algorithm based, and I wasn't really having the same connection I once did with my friends. So I was like, all right, let me try to build this messaging app. But the idea was that people would earn loyalty points for just using the app, sending messages, replying to messages. You would earn points, and tried to raise money for like 4 years, 3 years after that. Couldn't raise anything. Then Ken, the Ken messaging app, they launched their crypto token Ken, and then they needed like builders to like use their token in the app. So I applied, and they accepted me, man. It was pretty cool. I just basically took their cryptocurrency, tied it into our loyalty point system, and that was the easy implementation. So I just was, I guess I was really lucky to even apply at that time.
Yeah, man, that's fire. Kick will resonate with every millennial who grew up messaging service that we all had prior to the dominance of WhatsApp. But you touched on something there that I hadn't written down, but hearing you talk about it, it's a frustration that I think a lot of people in this space share. Where, and outside of even Web3, just in general, like it seems very difficult for Black people and people of color to get the same funding opportunities that others are provided. And it's wild because you look at our history of innovation and we're constantly at the forefront, but it constantly is a struggle to get the same level of trust, the same. Man, I don't, I don't think politically correct is it, but I don't want to make sweeping generalizations. But I will say that just in as a whole, you can look at the amount of dollars that are spent in the Black community from VCs, and it pales in comparisons to these other apps, these other ideas. There was one article you wrote on that touches on this, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it was essentially saying like you hope that when you mess up you're given the same amount of leeway as Cooper Turley was for his. And I think about that in this space, and there actually really isn't a question here. I kind of more just wanted to like, I'm thinking about it as you're saying it, and it's just like, yo, how the hell do we fix this? And I know from my own perspective, I've been trying to develop some crazier IP and things that, like it's so good you can't deny it. And that's been my approach. Like, okay, well, whatever. Instead of worrying about a seat at the table, like let's build our own. What is your take on? I am jumping around here. Actually, let me segue this even cleaner. You had written about uh, moving fast and breaking habits, which is a play on moving fast and breaking things. So, for Black people and people of color, what are some habits that you feel we need to break in 2022 that will open up more opportunities for us for funding?
So I don't want to be prescriptive and give a how to for all Black people. I can share the habits that I thought I needed to break and habits I think I'm still trying to break. It's like just I stopped relying on what I didn't have, man, and I started focusing on like what I had. And most of the things I had was really intrinsic to like our people, which is like persistence, which is like patience, and like which is like swag, right? So I just doubled also things like authenticity. So I just doubled down on these things that were really, really innate to me and like my heritage and background. I just doubled down on that, and I stopped worrying about what I didn't have because I looked at it and I became really spiritual. Like it was like if I wake up in the morning and I'm good, I'm safe, I got some food to eat, I got people that like Like people like me, people mess with me. I was like, at its core, that's all I needed. And then I was just able to double down on what I thought were my strengths. So I think that like that's just like the biggest habit, man. Because then you get to really go deep and inside you, and then you're just like you're just figuring out this world for yourself as opposed to looking for external things to help your vision come true. Because I feel like once you get right spiritually within yourself, I feel like the external world take care of itself. So I think yeah, I just think I had to go inside and I had to figure out the problems I was having in my mind. And I think that's a big habit that we should break, man. It's just stop thinking about external stuff. Let's just start focusing on our strengths. And I think we have a lot of them clearly because our culture is like dominating a lot of these economies in the world, but we just gotta start focusing on ourselves more, I guess.
Yo, that's a really good point. Especially highlighting the fact of not being prescriptive, not having a one size fits all solution. I don't think that that's the case. So, thank you for correcting that line of questioning. I do love your answer though, where starting internal, starting to figure out like, okay, what are the things that I can adjust within myself that will open me up to more opportunities and allow me to flourish in a way where, regardless of what I see other people, regardless of what I see from other people, or regardless of the opportunities that you feel you may have been equally qualified for, that doesn't stop you from pushing forward, that doesn't stop you from pursuing your goals. I think one of the really ill things that I had saw, and very, very ambitious, and I love that about your writing, were the 10 people that you had wanted to potentially talk to in 2022. And you have some very familiar names in there from different walks of lives. Nas, Oprah, 50 Cent, which are pop culture legends, and the Vitaliks and Chris Dixons, which are legends in this Web3 space. Who on your list would you most want to go to a dinner with?
Oprah for sure. Black woman. Her story is pretty rich. She overcame a lot, and I think she's probably the most open-minded on the list. So it definitely would be Oprah. I have a lot of just love, and I just have a lot of love and like Oprah. She still motivates me to this day. Like every time I think about Oprah, it's just a like good feeling that I get. So it's definitely Oprah.
I had a follow up to that, but maybe we'll circle back because I think that's another quality segment. I hate to be jumping around so quickly.
Nah,
I
do
think
your
that
thing,
you've
man.
there's so much that I want to touch on, that you've worked on and created, and we have I don't say a limited amount of time, but I try to not have these go over an hour. And when I was looking at all the topics I wanted to cover with you, I'm like, okay, this will be
You
like
got to
a
do a
speed
part
rounds.
two.
Well, oh, that is 1000% going to need to happen because of the stuff that you're building. So, speaking on Black women, right, and the idea of supporting Black women and constantly actually showing up, I think that there are people who say it and there are people who say it through their actions. And you are definitely someone who says it through your actions. Can you tell the people a little bit about TBA DAO and what you're building over there?
Yeah, so TBA is a pivot slash new creation that happened last year. So like I told you, I was working on my messaging app since 2013, and the thing about like the biggest pivot I had with Kick was and Ken is that that was a great program. They rewarded you for people using their currency in your app. The only problem was it was a bunch of libertarians in this Web3 space back in 2018. And so libertarians at that time, many of them were Trump supporters. So I got this influx of new Trump supporters to my app mixed with my current community. And this was also at the time where Kanye West was wearing the MAGA hat. So I'm just like, wow, this is a sign that me and Kanye could unite both sides. The reality was that did not happen, bro. It was like it was chaos. People started calling my app the Trump app, and I was so flustered, man, because on one side it's my community who knew how big this opportunity was for me. Then on the other side is all these Trump supporters who like they have free speech, right? Like they weren't being disrespectful or anything. It was just that they just came on there sharing their truth, and that was a truth that my current community didn't like. So I was like, okay, both communities, I'm done. I told Ken, I'm out this program. It's not the community that I intended to build. Then I pivoted, and that's when this whole idea of the DAO came across. There were a few women that were on the messaging app, and I just thought, I'm about to get back into Web3. There's these new thing called DAOs. Do you want to join me, right? And most of the DAOs now are using Discord. So I'm just like, we could start a DAO and we could use our own app, and then we can scale it down 5, 10 years from now using the app. So that's how it originally started. It started from just that pivot from communities, from the Ken community to now we're just building our new community, and it's pretty general. It's for compassionate, authentic, and ambitious people. So there's different layers in the DAO, but at the core, TBA DAO is a DAO for compassionate, authentic, and ambitious people.
Man, this was literally born out of necessity. I cannot imagine how wild it must have been trying to navigate a brand new technological space and then two like diametrically opposed ends of a community that were operating in the same, app, the same space. One thing I love with TBA is your Freedom Flowers project, which I think is super simple from the presentation, but very, very, it has a lot of depth to it. We'll say that. Where I think the symbolism behind it is really fire. Uh, could you elaborate a little bit on what the Freedom Flowers are?
Yeah, man. So the first project that I presented to our DAO was this NFT project. Um, I said, let's create an NFT project called Freedom Flowers because I was working on this upcycled clothing brand called Freedom last year during the pandemic. And one of the things we did was we put a flower on top of each item. So we would just take like a vintage clothing and then we would print our logo on top of it. So we would put freedom across the chest and we would put a flower on there. So then when I got to this space, I'm like, okay, maybe I could design some sort of badge, token, some collectible that can look cool, right? So like you said, it's really simple, but the complexity here is the colors. It's making them all look good and unique. That's the complexity of these freedom flowers, but it's pretty simple, man. This is an NFT collection, and it gives you access to our app because our app is invite only. So that's the first utility of it. It also is like soon we're going to allow people to buy their own merchandise. So we're on board Maroof right now. We're going to do some content with Maroof with his individual freedom flower. So our Freedom Flower NFT project is like the main goal is to encourage people to be authentic in their daily lives. And that authenticity is just simply being who you truly want to be, right? It's like whoever you want to be at that day, at that time, at that moment is living in that person as opposed to creating a character and living through that character. It's like we want these from the badge aspect, it's just a sign of solidity that said I support authenticity at its core. It's just I support authenticity in a world where like we live in a world where the truth is forbidden. The truth hurts. When people hear the truth, it's like they I don't know, it's like a body issue. Like they feel it in the body, especially if it's something that they don't want to hear. So we just want to start a movement where people can hear the truth as much as possible. And then over decades, over centuries, we can live in a more truthful and authentic world. So that's the main goal at a 10,000 foot level is just to inspire or encourage people to just be more authentic with who they truly are.
Fire, yo. I love that. And much more eloquently said than me.
Nah, it's all good.
I'm messing with you, G. Um, so I alluded to a very true and authentic moment we had earlier, which was the day that we ended up first connecting. You had reached out to me after hearing me speak in a Twitter space and invited me to an IRL event that you were a part of, Web3 Wednesdays with Bass Studios and 24 Hours. And TBA also is one of the sponsors, correct?
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. This is true.
So it was wild because we pulled up. You did bring up that I did not bring you up on the space, but outside of that, we had talked in the DMs, and it was really fire. You had mentioned Maroof earlier, getting to meet him in person after seeing him, constantly moving around in Web3. Canal Street was actually one of the songs that we played leading into your episode. Seeing the friendship that you guys had, the energy that was there. It just reminded me of some of my favorite elements of being in the music industry. And I don't know if it's as easy to feel that authenticity online. So when I get to go to these IRL events and experience this, it really, really moves me. What about Web3 Wednesdays do you feel is necessary for the culture?
Yeah, man. So Maroof and I, we've been friends since we were like 14. We went to the same high school. So we've been friends for a long time. I like it was I always make this joke, even though I'm not qualified to make this joke, but I can imagine a feeling when you go to jail or you go to prison and you see one of your friends and you like really, really excited, like, oh snap, you in here? I'm gonna have a fun time. That's how it was when I saw Maroof had changed his name to Daif. Like we didn't even have a conversation about this because I had my Eve probably a few months before he had his. So when he got his Eve, I was like, wow, this is awesome because this is someone that I really, really know. I don't have to convince him that Web3 is the future. It was like that just made me feel so good because I was going around my entire friend circle, and shout out to Nyla. Nyla's in here. I was trying to convince them of like that this Web3 stuff is going to be the future, and it was kind of giving off like scammer vibes or like forex vibes. Like, and
Yo, the
I didn't,
Forex vibes are crazy.
yeah, bro. I didn't like how. I didn't like how it was being received because I really was passionate about this new technology and how it could help our people. So then I was like, dang. So I fell back a little bit. And then that's when Maroof had his Eve. So I was like, wow, it's lit. So me and Maroof had just been trying and talking. Like, that's all we do is talk about how can we make this space look cool for people like us. So Web3 Wednesdays is just, we just want to create a place where culture is represented and people have a safe space to come and chat or come and like meet new people in this space. We just want to connect the culture to this piece of technology. Like that's like at a 10,000 foot level, that's the mission, man. Connect our culture to this piece of like new emerging tech.
Whew. I love it. It was as I mentioned, just like a really great experience getting to see y'all there. Fire getting to speak on the panel and build the relationships that I have from that. And yeah, you really hit the nail on the head. I agree with all of that and why it is relevant. You have a lot of ideas that I would like to see. How do I want to say this? I would like to see come to fruition, right? And I know that it's a balance of actually being able to execute the ideas and having the support to do them. So, Money Trees is all about planting these seeds and seeing having a timestamp and being able to look back and say, okay, yeah, I remember when we talked about doing this and then made this a thing. So on top of Web3 Wednesdays, which just had its second showing, which looked like it was great, saw some images from there. Uh, do a little shameless plug. When does it happen? Where does it happen?
Yeah, man. So the first thing I want to say is shout out to Virgil because he inspired this new outlook I have on life. Before Web3, I was wearing khakis, I was wearing New Balance, I was wearing Patagonia, trying to raise money from these investors. And I was only doing that so I can just seem more affable, right? So I was just trying to make it easier on myself. So I had to switch my swag totally up. Then the pandemic happened, and then that's when I really, really started to tap into Virgil. And his mindset was just that you can do everything, anything you want to do. You want to DJ, you want to design, you want to throw parties. You like anything you do, you could do it at the same time. And that is you juxtapose that with this VC narrative of focus, 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 focus. I just had to abandon this focus mentality, and I was able to just let all of those ideas into the world. So they all are seeds right now, man. So I got TBA DAO. I'm working on we clearly working on the Freedom Flower NFT project. And like what makes that so big in itself is that that's going to become a brand, man, because once we actually start getting this merch out there and then letting people know that we have this one of one cool looking merch, I think that's going to drive our growth there, because every time I'm out, everyone always takes a picture of this hoodie. They don't even know that it's an NFT. They just see the picture, they see the flower on the hoodie. They like, oh, that looks so cool. Let me take a picture. So I know at scale that's going to do some like work. And we want to partner with Gap, man. We want to partner with Gap to get those hoodies made, because right now I'm printing them myself, but we printing on Gap hoodies. We using Gap merch. So that's one of the main things we're trying to manifest right now. But I got Jhamar.com. Jhamar.com is just all of the projects I'm working on right now. One of the projects that's cool, that's really cool, that I like, I've been thinking about this project for like 5 years now, is a mobile service called Rapland. And this basically would allow you to go and vote on the dopest rappers in your state every week. So every week, each state will have a list of the top 100, 500, 1,000 rappers. So that's going to be that's going to be a really cool project that I'm excited to launch probably early this summer. So it's Rapland, it's TBA. Also created something called Black Dollar Party, BDP, and that's just a database of all of black businesses in America. So like you can go search. So let's just say if like you want some food, you would go to Black Dollar Party and you'll search food, New York, and then it'll give you all the restaurants. So I'm working on that. But the main focus, man, is TBA and the Freedom Flower NFT project. That's where like that's my baby, man. I've been working on it since 2013, but that's my baby. And because of Virgil, I'm inspired to do all these other things, bro.
Yo, with Rapland, I'd actually had an idea very similar, which lets me know that
Let's
Rapland
work,
needs to
man.
be something something that needs to happen. Where it's like it was like the rap report card, right? Where imagine if you could kind of gamify like rap reviews the way you have like IMDb for movies, but a public type of voting database for artists and their projects. And it's updated rankings based on verified members. Maybe it needs to be a DAO. You invest, I don't know, $10 that gives you one token or voting power. The treasury you use for upkeep. It's something. There's something to that curatorial element of rap and discovery that we're kind of missing right now, because a lot of the curation is done by the few and it's not as much of a democratic process. I think curatorial elements as a whole with Web3 is going to be something I'm focusing on more. Part of that little hiatus that I mentioned was realizing the lack thereof that. Um,
Well, this is going to be a strictly Web 2 play, bro. Like the plan really is like to have this go viral and like sell it to Spotify, man. Get this off my hands, get this Spotify, use that money, throw back into TBA. So it's sort of like a hustle play. It's just something I've been thinking about. Again, I always think of ideas, man. And then sometimes I just like, hey, I got to do it. Or sometimes the universe just get me started into building these things, and then I have all these projects. So this one would be a Web 2 play just to flip really fast.
But it could also be a Web3 one.
It can, but it's going to take Web3 focus that is all going towards TBA these days.
No, that's real. And look, I love that though. You being able to know the difference, like at least knowing your bandwidth, right? Because that's part of what I was mentioning earlier. Part of ways to avoid that burnout is understanding your bandwidth, understanding what you can actually put together.
Bro,
Um,
but it's also doing what you want to do and doing what feels good to you, right? I feel like when I'm doing the things I want to do and I'm doing things that feel good to me, I'm not really attached to the result or the journey as much because I know it feels good. And I think I used to get in trouble when I'm doing things that I necessarily don't want to do. That's when I would have a burnout situation. But if I'm doing things that I love and doing things that I want to do. And I know it's a luxury. I know everyone doesn't have this luxury, but I feel fortunate to have this luxury that I can do the things I really want to do in this world. But it takes a lot of bravery. It takes a lot of because like, bro, the last 10 years, 15 years of my life, I was literally out in this world begging white men for money. And you got to understand how much that took a toll on me. You talk about burnout. I had to go to these network events and put a fake smile on my face. My cheeks would be hurting from laughing at jokes that I didn't think was funny. So that was an interesting time. But when I started to go deep and go inside, I realized that in order for me to be my best self, and I want to help the world, I want to help people. I want to be compassionate people. I want to be understanding. I want to provide resources. I realized that I had to make myself whole first, and part of that whole was me understanding that I need to do the things I want to do and not the things that I need to do to make other people perceive me a certain way. It's like I had to detach from other people's full idea of who I was and focus on how I wanted to feel in every single moment. And then that's what helped me a lot, man.
Yo, that was excellently said, my G.
You got to
Um,
clip that, man.
I do. I literally, yo, whew. Okay. So, yo, on that note, Jamar, I gotta thank you for coming through. Before I let all the guests on Money Trees go, I have two questions for you. You planted some really ill seeds here today. You've discussed seeds that you've already had growing in the world and been nurturing and taking care of. I like to repurpose the term seed phrase. And the seed phrase in regards to money tree is going to be in regard to money trees is going to be a phrase that or a saying or a motto that embodies your approach to Web3, your ethos in the space, just something that you live by. For money trees number 29, Jhamar, what is your seed phrase?
Oh, man. You sure y'all ready for this? You sure I'm not going to get judged, man?
Let's hear it. We're going to immortalize it on the blockchain.
Oh, it is. I just told you who I thought I was. A god. I just told you. That's it.
I fucking love it.
That's it, man. Shout out to Yeezy, man.
I just
But
told you. Oh, what's up? What's up?
but that's a deep message because it goes to what I was saying earlier, whereas though I know it's extreme to call yourself a god, but we gotta go inside and realize that all of the power is like in us. Like we have the power to make our realities, whatever we want. So in some cases, you have to identify with some type of God because that's the word that we use to explain control. So I think if you identify with like your own God, I think you're going to realize that these are your choices or these are your thoughts, and like you have control to change your internal or external reality. So that's like even saying that is like by default that's some god level thinking, to think that you have the power of your life. You got to think like a god. So that's why I chose that quote.
I'm here for it, G. Another perfectly spoken statement. I got nothing to add on that. The second question is, what is the price of the one of one number 29 NFT going to be?
Oh man, I don't even want to be lame here, bro, but Uh, bro, I don't know, bro. I'm going to need some help from you. I don't know how to. I'm not good at pricing things, bro.
Oh man, I have not done it yet, and so I cannot start, Jamar. These prices are determined by the guest. It
Wait,
could
so what
be
was? All right, how
oh,
about this? What was yesterday's price? What was the price on the last one?
yesterday's price is not today's price.
Exactly. So what was yesterday's price on episode 28?
uh, 28 was I think 0.03 ETH.
A 0.03, you said?
Yes, sir.
So let's go 0.05, only because yesterday's price is not today's price.
There it is, yo. I want to thank Jamar for coming out and joining us today. This has been a really fire conversation. He has dropped some gems. I am excited for Money Trees to be back. What a month we have had in this space. So much to catch up on. We've touched on some of it here, but man, I am excited again. I keep saying that. I'm too damn excited. It's like me and the but ums. Web3 Wednesdays, first Wednesday of every month if you're in New York, out in Williamsburg with Bass Studio. Check out TBA. You need to check out Jhamar.com. This man is an excellent writer, world builder. Again, like I said, all around dope mofo. Let's remind him I do not look like Tupac. Tupac is somewhere in Cuba. And that's
bro,
all I
let me
got for you, my G.
let me say one last thing, man. Just thank you, man. Thank you for being in the space. Your just energy, your existence in this your existence in the space is really, really needed because I think you get it. Not only do you get it, you're not emotional with it. You like you're logically thinking this out and you're logically making these plays that I think are really going to they're going to come. I don't know. I think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when you think about the people you connected or the people that you worked with, especially in this space, I think you're going to be really, really proud of yourself because you got a good heart and you putting out good energy out there, man. So shout out to Money Trees, man. Shout out to you. I'm sending you all the positive vibes and anything I could do to help. I'm here, bro.
I love it, G. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you for the words and your time. We are out of here, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.